Hey, what's going on, everybody? Pastor E back. Welcome to Let's Talk About It with Pastor E, where I'm the host. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you share what's going on, what we talking about. We talk about anything. We're going from triumphs from the trauma, or we're going from struggles to solutions, anything we might be struggling with. And then we can just talk about anything. We can talk about day-to-day life or whatever it is. I wanted to continue on from the last episode where I was talking about telling your truths. Because I'm more looking at trying to bring people out of the situation we're at. And in 2026, our motto or our theme is that ministry, emotion, and spiritually fixed in 26. We're trying to get our spirit man fixed, healed, operating, and then our fleshly man. So I was explaining how we're a 3-part being. We're spirit and then our body, and we got a soul. So our spirit is exactly who we are. And a lot of us have been walking around and we know our spirit ain't right. Some people even mention it, I got demons in me, or I got this, and they have no problems with that. And but there is a problem with that, because we know a demon is evil. So why is it okay for us to have evil in us when we're not even really built to be like that? That's not who we are. And the reason why we're like that is one of the biggest tricks from the enemy is to offend us. You're offended. We take offense. That's the biggest problem. We take offense. To be offended, you have to take it. I can't offend you as long as you don't take it. It's just that simple. The problem is we're really offended by the people that are closest to us. Those of you who don't know me, if I said something about you right now, you're not going to be offended by it. No, you ain't getting mad for a second. This dude just called me this, whatever it is, something out your name. But at the end of the day, if you don't know me, you're going to be like, man, I don't care what that dude said. I'm not going to take offense. The enemy, he knows if he can get offense in there, it's going to make you respond a certain way. And that right there is our issue or our problem, because we're responsible for how we respond. So, but if you're offended, it's always your response. For some reason, we want vengeance. We gonna pay people back for what they did to us. Because if they hurt us, like I said before, hurt people. So vengeance is ours. And it doesn't matter what happens to them. We want to get them. Now, something can happen. Somebody do something to you, and I'm just an example, they end up getting sick, or somebody beat them up, or something happened traumatic to them. It's sometimes it ain't, most of the time it ain't good enough, because we want to be the one that inflict the harm back on them. Why? Because they did it to us. So we're responsible for how we respond, though. And that's what the enemy knows. He knows that if he can get us to respond opposite of the way that we should normally respond, that's where the problem is going to come in. So in the Bible, it tells us he takes Jesus on top of this mountain, and he tries to get him to turn some rocks into food. He tries to get him to kill himself. So he tries to get him to sacrifice, which is the response of who Jesus. He wanted to see if I could get him to respond a certain way. Because the enemy never wants you to know who you really are. What he was doing was really checking to see if Jesus knew who he was. If you are the Son of God, this is how he's coming. So now, who does Jesus identify as? If he identifies less than, he's going to do something that the enemy came and presented in front of him. Jesus, another time, he's in the garden and they're getting ready to come and get him. And he takes two brothers, his cousin, and then he takes his ride or die. Why? Because at this time, no matter how much people want to separate Jesus and God or put them together, right now, Jesus on this earth is a man. He's a man. He's in the garden. He has them set up because he knows they're coming to get him. His response is, I don't want this to happen. Why? He got his family there. Whose family don't support that? If somebody come attack my family, all my family on fight. That's just how we are. Some of my people, if somebody want to fight me, they gonna get them before I get them. That's just who we are. Family gonna roll with us. But then when you got somebody who your road dog, this dude Peter walked around with a ratchet. He already knew. It ain't the first time. First of all, Peter cussed this dude's ear off. This is how he responded. Because that's what he knows to do. He's a fighter. This is what he's going to do. But Jesus comes in and he's like, yo, this ain't the way. His response is different. He don't want to die. He doesn't want to die. That's what people understand. But he knew he had to. But he doesn't want to. So now he responds in a way of, guess what? All right, Father, can you take this cup away from me? Can you take what is about to happen to me away? Okay, you can't? All right. Well, your will's going to be done. Now, Jesus could be like, yo, I'm not dying. No, I don't want to die. But his response, how he responded. See, we're responsible for how we respond. So once we're offended, if we took offense, we take it, we're going to respond from the offense, whatever it is. And then the enemy has you. That's all he wanted. He needed you to take offense. God is trying to get us to respond differently. He says, the greatest commandment is to love him, love your neighbor. And then he says, it's the B clause. He says, as you have to love them as yourself. So he's expecting us to love ourselves. Our neighbor is not our next door neighbor. You got to do your research. Your neighbor is the person that showed you mercy. So in order to show somebody mercy, you have to respond in a way. That means you don't even deserve this pass that I'm going to give you. But I am going to give you mercy. I'm going to let you pass on this, no matter what you just did to me. So the response, again, here goes the response. How do we respond? Peter, he has Ananias and Sapphira come up to him. And at the time, they were supposed to, divvy up their land and bring stuff in and stuff like that. This is what really was the church. The church during those days was, if I moved into your village, the people in the village would come to me and give me whatever I need so I'm not the weakest person in the village. That's really how the church would be operated. But Ananias and Sapphira, at a time they was bringing in stuff and they were supposed to bring in this, say, money to the place, and they lied. Their response was to lie. They didn't want to give everything. So Peter's like, his response is, you lied to the Holy Spirit. And both of them died. If Jesus was in Peter's shoes, do you think that Jesus would have responded like that? Here goes the same dude. They ready to kill Mary because she's out. She's a prostitute and all of that. He says, yo, whoever ain't did nothing, cast the first stone. If you perfect, this is it. So now, how does Jesus respond? If he's supposed to be our example, we have to begin to start to respond as he did, because he's a spirit man who overcame the world. He overcame the flesh. So now, how we respond to anything that's attacking us, if we take offense, we are always going to respond from a different way. Jesus, we got Jesus on this pedestal and people have him almost like the greatest thing ever. And I understand that. But he said greater works than him that he did, you gonna do. So he's saying, you're supposed to do greater. Now, he never makes suggestions. I believe everything he says is commandment. He is the word. So he's not suggesting, hey, or asking, can you do greater? He's expecting us to do greater. And because we got Jesus on the pedal, he's like, yo, he's supposed to do it. Oh, he's God's son and all of that. But we're God's sons too. We're his daughters too. So how do we know that? Let's go back to a dude named Joseph. Joseph's brothers threw him in a pit. He ended up going to jail after that. Now, this dude could have been offended from the beginning. But at the end of everything, when his brothers are in need, Joseph, what? He restores them. He gives them what they need. He loved this. He responded in love. But it's all because how he responded when he was thrown in the pit, when he was thrown in prison. It's all about your response. So now in life today, let's bring it back today. How do you respond to anything? The main thing is what caused trauma in your life. How you respond. Some of you have been abandoned. Some of you have been rejected. Your disappointments. You've been raped. You've been beat up. All of these things. You've been lied about. You've been talked about. How do you respond from that? This is how your spirit is going to be fixed. I have to change the way I respond because I am responsible for how I respond. God is saying, listen, I know that this person did that to you, but he don't want you to go respond to him that way. He said, vengeance is mine. But we the ones that want vengeance. We got to give it to him. If it was okay to kill, 98% of us would be murderers because everybody did something to us. God says, let me handle this. You work on your response. This is how your spirit is going to be fixed. First thing, I can never take offense. If I take offense, this is going to be one of the biggest problems because I took it. Nobody can offend you unless you take it. You make it part. You bring it into your spirit. For most people to offend you, there's somebody close to you. But God tells you, now guess what? I'm preparing this table in front of your enemies. Our first enemy is our family or friends, the people that are close to us, because they're the first people that hurt us. And God is saying, okay, they're at the table. Let me check your response. Are you going to let them eat? Joseph let them eat. Some of us, we know we're not. Hey, listen, I ain't gonna lie. Shoot, sometimes Pastor E, I know I got this table and it's getting ready to be, man, and it's got all kinds of stuff there. So some of these people, I'm just have one French fry. because what they say and do about me. I mean, when I was out in the world, like completely out in the world, man, they talked about me like a dog. I've been called crab in the barrel, a lot of people, all because I wasn't going for the foolishness that they was dealing with. Now, I'm not saying I didn't have some foolishness, but I wasn't dealing with their foolishness either. I got my own stuff. And because I call them out, and first of all, I'm very, very smart. Now, I might have got all my education from life, but I'm smart. So dealing with people and understanding how they are, I can make you trap yourself. I know how to bring you to a place where you tell the truth. So now it is whatever it is, but I'm gonna you get in some dialogue with me. I'm gonna have you tell your truth. So if you're being a jerk, a liar, or whatever it is, you're being selfish. I know how to bring you to the place where you're going to admit to that. And then guess what? Now you deal with it. You know, I'm not here to judge anybody or anything like that. But if you got to be careful when you want to talk to me, because I know how to do that. But it's about how we respond. The way our spirit is going to be fixed this year and every year, we're responsible for how we respond. Are we going to respond from the abandonment? Are we going to respond from the rejection? Are we going to respond from the rape? How do you respond? If you respond from the place of hurt, it's always going to come out wrong, no matter what. Say, I'm responsible for how I respond. Say it again. I'm responsible for how I respond. So I have to respond better, even though it hurts. Hey, Pastor E, thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk About It with Pastor E again. I'll see you on the next episode. Y'all like, share. Deuces.